Hey. I'm somewhere. Oh, crap.
Kylie?
Are y'all there?
Yeah, we've had a disruption. I need to, if Kylie can turn our cameras on
Okay.
and unmute us.
Awesome. Well, I unmuted myself, but the camera I can't do.
I can't do the camera either.
Huh.
Yeah, that's the same with me. I got the audio going, but the camera won't start.
Well,
This isn't Kylie, but I can try to help you out.
Okay, I'm sorry, I got the name wrong. Yeah, we can't see anybody.
yeah.
Hang on.
Your dog.
You can see.
Allow panelist start video. Hang on. There we go. I think I found it.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, I see.
There's Susan.
Susan.
Okay.
I feel like I'm the romper room host. I see Susan. Oh, I
Alright.
see Gary.
Gary.
Let's see if I can do mine. I don't. Oh, there's the other Susan.
Yeah.
Karen's not as. Oh, start video. There I am.
Okay, thank you.
It's magic mirror. I'm too old to remember. Y'all, yeah, that's an oldie but a goodie. The romper room.
All righty.
Okay. Travis won't be with us today. He did email me. And I don't know about Felice and Robin. I didn't hear anything from them.
All right. You want to just wait a minute or two and see if they show up?
Well, we can go ahead and start.
All right.
Okay.
It's already 3 o'clock, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's already
we
over
just-
3.
We had a communication issue.
Shouldn't be interrupted. We'll go ahead and call it to order at 3:04.
Okay.
And has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes of the last meeting?
Yes.
Any issues or changes or anything necessary?
Not that I saw.
Not that I saw either.
Okay. In the case, I'd entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll move. So move.
A second? All right, all in favor, show of hands. Unanimous.
Thank
All
you
right,
all.
move on to the director's report.
Okay, well, it's been a long time, even though it was just December that we met. Things are really close to getting back to normal. Most of the librarians that wanted to get a vaccination were able to finally last week. I'm not sure if everyone has, but people are talking about plans for opening things up, and different libraries are handling it a little bit differently, but nobody, Springdale's gonna open on okay. Audra says nothing happens if we don't have a quorum, but there are 4 involved, so that's a quorum.
Yeah.
Simple majority. what I was going with, Springdale is going to open limited hours, but they're going to be open. They're going to encourage people not to stay more than an hour. They're going to start that on Monday. They'll close for 2 hours for lunch because they'll have to spread out in the building to be able to eat lunch. And then they're going to have to clean. So, but I'm gradually getting plans from the different libraries, and everybody is looking to be, hoping to be, if they aren't already open, somewhere around the 19th, which is when everybody who got vaccinated last week will have had their second in the 14 days after.
So the
So-
19th of April is what you're saying?
Yes,
19th of April.
mid-April.
Okay.
So there's progress. We're getting there. But right now, I say in the director's report, we're maintaining 3-day quarantines. We are moving to 24-hour quarantines for materials. And that'll be taking effect here pretty quick. That means the courier will be running more. So I feel good about things. I think we're getting ready to get closer to normal. Let's see. We are starting to do interlibrary loan now. And so let's see. And planning committee met. We've completed the long range plan for you all's approval, hopefully later today. Gary and I met with the board chair of the Elkins Library via Zoom. And Elkins has not funded the library yet this year, and it looks unlikely at this point. One of the city council members that represents the library at council meetings is interested in trying to get some city funding for the library. Winslow was closed in February because the city changed propane company.
Yeah.
And there was a disruption. And so they were closed for 2 weeks. But that has been accomplished now. The Winslow mayor stepped down. The old mayor has taken back over. So that happened during that time also. The county, the judge's office displayed information about the libraries during a week of their Facebook presence. And I worked with West Fork. She's thinking about adding anime and manga sections to the library. And we talked about that and what would work best. Springdale completed their fiscal close. Completed finally doing all those Overdrive Classic records. And it's annual report time for the libraries again. I sent those out last week, and I'm asking them to be back in by April 8th so that I can get it completed and submitted by the deadline of April 15th. So quite a few more questions about COVID and virtual programming and things that were new to all of us this year or last year. So, and then the Elkins report, you saw they reviewing and renewing contacts to make up for the lack of city funding. They resumed their STEM inspired preschool story time and weekly CAF kits. And they met with approximately 300 students to share about the Elkins Public Library and present a storytime video production during Read Across America Week. And they explained how people could use the new online card application process. And the library is looking to start an online digital archive of local history. West Fork,
Hey, Glenda, back up a minute. I didn't
Yes,
know
ma'am.
about the online digital, wait a minute, what are the online module for getting a library card? Is that?
that came with COVID. Springdale already had it. Elkins and Farmington requested it. And I think it's just Elkins, Farmington, and Springdale. That's one of the ways that we knew that those people were trying to get the Dr. Seuss books, because they applied virtually for a card. They didn't qualify for a card. And then they went to each of those libraries to try to get those books.
I see.
So I don't know if you saw that
Yeah, I saw
story
that
in the
paper,
paper.
yeah. Right. Well, can you also renew that way?
No, it's just for brand new card.
Okay.
So it gives you a temporary barcode that you can use for up to 30 days. You can access Arkansas Library to go with it. But if you don't come in 30 days and verify your information, it goes dead.
Okay.
So
it could be used in the library too if people come in, because as I recall,
Yeah.
sometimes you get people who come in who don't have everything they need to get a card. So librarians can go ahead and give them that temporary thing too.
yes,
Okay.
but really what they do is it's done through the OPAC, the online catalog
Right. No, I understand that.
on the patron side.
Right. But it could be
They could
used.
direct them to do that.
Right.
So, okay, West Fork, they're open 3 days a week, and curbside, they're going to go to regular business hours in May or June, depending on staff vaccinations. Now this was done before we were added to the list of people eligible. So that may move up for them. The library is going to be open by appointment during spring break. And that's all the library reports we have. Any questions about that? Well, then we'll continue on with the financials, if you like. Right off the bat, I would like to ask for $18,000 to move from reserves to the downloadable line item. We had some late invoices that we had to pay out of this year. And if you look, let's see.
There's like a $17,000 or $13,000 overdrive. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, there's actually 18,000.
18, it was a big one, I know.
Yeah, it only shows up as 13,000 on yours, but today it's 19,840. Part of that was for the 18,000 from the invoices from last year. So basically that money didn't get spent last year. And I just want to move it from reserves and have it replenish the fund to what we were going to be. Does that make sense?
So you're just needing a motion and a second and a vote to transfer
approval.
18,000 from reserve
To
into overdrive?
yeah,
Or-
line item 3090.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Okay, thank you.
Need
I
a
can
second?
I can second.
Okay. All in favor of transferring 18,000 from reserve to the line item 3099 for overdrive? By show of
3090.
hands.
3090.
3090, sorry, I had it written down right.
That's okay. You don't have to speak that lingo, so
Yeah,
Did
well, I
you-
Okay.
appreciate that. That will decrease the reserve a little bit, and then plus get us back on track for paying for what we want to pay for this year. Other than that, there was I'm on the page 3B3 now. There's a charge for O'Reilly for $153.15. That was for a new battery for the older van. It hadn't been driven in a while and it was deader than a doornail. So the road department bought that for us and got it going and everything. There are some purchases for Midwest tape in there in November and December. And those are for audiobooks that I ordered from that company so we could get them already processed and get them out. Let's see.
I had a question about AAC risk management and Brown and Brown. Are both of those insurance?
Yes, those are insurance payments that we make each year, and that's our share of the county.
And I noticed you're
Bill.
still paying Cox like $100 and something a month. I thought that was going to go away.
What happened, I did too, but what happened is our phone bill went away. We don't have AT&T anymore, so we're not paying them anything. We're really only paying, well, we're paying for one of the phone lines, and then we're paying for the 2 alarm phone lines. And it got too complicated to have buildings and grounds pay part of it and us pay part of it and get everything signed and get it in on time, because that bill comes with a shorter pay period or a time to pay than others. So I volunteered that we would pay for the fire alarm lines also. So that's why it's 112. Just in the interest of getting things done. So let's see. But all our long distance is free now, so that's good. Let's see. A few more Midwest tapes scattered in there. On 3B8, we have the annual contract with Innovative Interfaces for our software. This $28,000. The ProQuest charge is an annual fee that we pay to have the right to display the book jackets of the items in our catalog. And so, and then when we get to 3B9, if nobody has any other questions, there are 3 charges for the grease pig on MLK on January 26th. And the way that is we have to break out the oil, the labor, and the tax. And so that's why there's 3 separate charges, because they get charged to different line items. So that's always pleasant to do too. It's easier now that the sales tax is 10%.
Takes the government to convolute things.
Does anybody have any other questions about the treasurer's reports? That's runs through 3B14.
Okay, and then there's this other overdrive for $9,300, the last one on 3B14.
Yeah, that was an order we placed this in February.
So that was, okay, that's a
Yeah.
big.
It is. It is. We made up some time, but now that's why I wanted to replenish that 18,000 so we can get back on track.
So do we get some, this goes into the consortium, but is this that deal where we get special, or our patrons get it only for the first year or something? I'm trying to remember what you.
We buy a mix. We have to buy $6,000 worth for the consortium as a whole.
Okay.
And then we're buying more Advantage than we were. But occasionally, if there's something that has 230 holds on it for the whole system, we'll pick up another copy or 2, either an Advantage or just to help the system out.
An Advantage is what you're talking about, is where our patrons get the year.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And let's see. And that gives us to the year-end statement of operations, which is 3B15 through 3B19. If you'll look, because we did shift some of that money to overdrive at the end of the year, we were 97% expended for the main account. We were 99% expended for Greenland and 98% expended for Winslow. And so I'm kind of pleased with that. And I think if we'd have had those invoices, we would have been closer to 98% or 99 with the main budget. If you look at the statement of operations, starting with 3B20, if you'll look at 3B21, you can see where we encumbered, well, we had a year-to-date account and then the encumbrance, and then those were paid. Most of the 18,000 was paid already. I mean, not paid already, paid this week. So it'll get us back up to where we should be. In fact, I don't know if you can see this, but this is the printout from this week. And I've underlined in red the line item. And I don't know, you can't see what I'm showing you.
We can see if you hold it still.
Okay. The red line is, okay, I need to go to the other side. That's what I couldn't tell. Okay, I'm doing my best here.
Yeah, okay. What are we looking at?
51%.
51%.
There's the 18,000 that we expended this last week.
Just a little to your
And so
left,
the balance is 35,000.
Glenda.
Where-
I'm sorry.
Shift a little to your left. Your left.
That one.
It's
Can
too
you see it?
I think
No.
we're fighting a losing battle on this one.
It's okay.
I saw
I'm
18,
sorry.
but I couldn't see the other three digits, but we're good. I saw 18,000 comma something and
Okay,
51%.
okay. Well,
I
I just
saw a
wanted
big blur.
I'm sorry. I realized this morning that I couldn't, if I emailed it to you, you might not get it in time, or you might have it with your packet. But I wanted you to see that, yes, there was a definite decrease. We're slowly getting ordering done for Greenland and Winslow. It takes a while to get things going again. That takes us to 3B26.
You know, I'm
I'm
curious.
sorry.
I've forgotten. Under Greenland, it's all, you know, the bulk of the money is under general supplies. Is that books? So
That's books and CDs and downloadable books.
materials.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how, when we set those budgets up, that's what we decided would be the best. That's what the comptroller's office decided would be the best place to put that information.
Right. It just looks funny.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree. Okay, if you look at 3B26, that's the cash flow. If you look at the center section, that is the 2020 year. The bottom section is starting 21. You see the ending cash balance for 2020. And then January 21 is next, and then February 21. And we are actually a little bit under last year in our cash flow by about $20,000, which would, I'm not sure exactly why, but we ended up, oh, I know why.
Your expenditures are higher.
Yeah, I'm giving more money. There's more money to the libraries.
Okay.
That's why. So, let's see. Then we go to, oh, I'm sorry. That's all of the financial that I have.
Anybody got any other questions about the financials? If not, would entertain a motion to accept the financial report.
I move we accept the financial report as written.
I'll second.
All in favor by show of hands? Unanimous. Now on to statistics.
Okay. Sorry, I've got one pile over here, one pile over here, my stack of
That's,
books.
I'm in my
here.
car piling stuff here and there.
Okay. The statistics are, it's going to take a while to come back from this, I think. But there's progress being made. On 3C1's November and December comparison to November and December 2019, 2020. 3C2 is a comparison of 2020 to 2019. And it's a little better overall, but that's because we had January and February to balance a little bit. And then I've made a position to sheet wrong. No, I didn't. 3C3 is the statistics for 2020. We stopped doing interlibrary loan in April and May. We're gradually starting back now. We're getting some requests and filling them. And as the libraries open up, we'll be filling requests for our patrons. So that's last year.
Hey, remind me what system holds means?
The number of holds that have been placed by patrons throughout the system.
Okay.
I can see, and I didn't total the percentage change on circulation transacting library, January 2021 over January 2020. Now I'll get that corrected. But overall, it's still down about, 60, 69%. I think as the libraries open and people can actually put their hands on things, that will be going back up. And then you see the library statistics for January and February of this year. Again, no ILLs. We've had some new cards, and then the rest is just cataloging. But when you go to 3C6, you can see right now we're down 0.84 from last year, but we were open last January and February. So it's going to fall off the bottom as we go through the rest of the year. We'll still be in the negatives. But hopefully we'll end up with more than we had last year. I mean, a more positive number by the time we get through this year. Anybody have any questions? Sorry, this board packet's always the big one. That takes us up to election of officers.
All right, do we have to elect, or do we need to wait for the other members to show up sometime, or does it make a difference to anybody?
We have a majority, so
Okay.
I don't know that I would nominate someone who's not here just because that's kind of sneaky.
Oh, that would be really fun.
That's usually the way it works. Whoever doesn't show up gets the job. Just because we're in the middle of stuff, I'll throw myself out to remain as chair, but it's up to y'all, however you want to do it.
That's fine. I'll nominate Gary for chair for the coming year.
I'll second it. I can't second it fast enough.
Well, in that case, anybody else want to nominate anybody else, like somebody that's not here or a friend you don't like much, anything like that? I have no other nominations are accepted. All in favor of me. Show of hands, please.
Raise your hand.
3-4. All right. Susan, are you not the vice chair, I think?
Is that what the title is? I don't know.
Yeah, I never can remember what the title's supposed to be.
Yeah, 'cause
I will nominate you to be vice chair again.
she takes over whenever you're not there.
Right.
All right.
I
will-
second.
I think I did that
second her
one.
position.
Who seconded that, Karen?
Democratic, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Any other nominations? We'll close that out. All in favor of Miss Unger as vice chair?
Okay.
Unanimous. That's the only officers we have to elect, is it not?
That is correct.
All right.
Thank you all very much for your service and continuing service. So,
When do we know when different terms expire? I mean, everybody should be expiring at different times, I think.
right. I think Susan is the next to expire. Travis expired this year. Not you, Susan. Susan Unger.
Yeah, I have 3 years.
you
I
got
saw it the
years.
other day, so.
Okay.
So am I end of this year or when is my
In
term?
In January.
January of 2022?
Yes. And Travis is, he's going to serve again. I don't know if he's been sworn in yet with the way things are, but he can continue to serve in his capacity until he's sworn in.
Right.
And then he's legit. So,
Yeah. Semi-legit till you get cussed at. I mean, sworn in. All righty. Now since we've elected officers, we're down to the interlocal agreement. I think everybody got a copy of the interlocal agreement last time to kind of look at. I think it's in my personal opinion, it's almost a damned if you do and damned if you don't. We want, as the Washington County Library Board, we can't afford to support every library in the county entirely. So I think it behooves us to want the cities to support their own libraries. And what brought this up is Elkins is having a rough year and they cut all the funding to the library. Now, a couple of their councilmen have told us that they're going to donate their salaries for the year to the library. And Elkins, I think in their funding said this year they have to revisit their budget every quarter.
Wow.
And I've been assured that if the money's there, they're going to try to see if they can get some earmarked for the library.
I can tell you, I just spoke with the mayor this week. I've spoken with him a couple of times. He tells me in good faith that they are going to look at what they can do mid-year. So we're not talking first quarter, we're talking second quarter.
Right.
He says that he's supportive of the library. He used to donate his salary to the library, as a matter of fact, when he was on the council. They have a tough year. They're spending the money for public safety. It's most of this where the problem is in public safety. It's in the police department. So
Right.
That's where the money's going. They don't think it'll be a problem next year. Anyway, so they
believe it's a temporary.
Right.
issue.
Well, and I have no doubt that it's temporary. I know there's some people on the council that are working toward funding the library. And to be honest, I don't think Elkins citywide put that much funding in there, 25,000 maybe.
23.
Yeah,
I just-
Yeah.
I can tell you that I've been, I've been involved in the library for like 20 something years. And I can remember back when there was nothing, we fought year after year after year, got it up. When I left, I think it was at 17,000 finally.
Right.
Now it's, so they've increased it over the years. I do believe that they'll go back to funding.
I
Right.
really
But if we're interested in doing some sort of an interlocal agreement, you know, I sent Glenda a copy of the interlocal agreement for ambulance service, which is based on
Population.
per capita. And there's several other local interlocal agreements based on, you know, some number, but mostly they're from what I haven't seen them, but the mayor told me they were mostly based on per capita. So we could look at something like that. The one for ambulance service is pretty detailed. And
Right. Well, and the deal is the millage money that comes in, your city gets however much millage that is accrued from your city limits that goes to you, irregardless of anything else. It's the millage money that goes out into the county that we have the formula that we add and prorate out to the cities that aren't necessarily have to be sent to those cities. I may not be making sense on this, but what you get inside your city limits, you get irregardless.
no,
The other part that
that's
we
not really
don't,
true, Gary. The library board makes the decision as to who gets what money, and
hang on, have a second. Kenny, I'm
What-
on a Zoom meeting and I'm just sitting here because it's a good spot. Thank you, sir.
there's nothing that says that each city, there's nothing in concrete, there's nothing in law, there's nothing that says that the cities get what's within their boundaries. It was the formula is set up that way. It was set up that way, what, 15 years ago or so? It's worked out since.
Right.
So it's, you know, it's not.
But I think there's other precedent on millages that would require that, because I've looked at some of the other, may not be in library law, but there are other precedences on millages. Mainly the ones I've looked at have to do with sewer systems that are, if it's in your city limits, the millage is raised on property in your city goes to your city to be, anyway.
I disagree. I
Very
think the
fair on
board
that
can
part.
decide how we want to, I think that's our job. The library board can decide how that money is allocated.
Right. Well, and my personal opinion is the millage that you get for what's in your city is yours, and what we add in extra from the county or however we prorate it out. And the reason that this came up is because of the deal at Elkins, our standing interlocal agreement doesn't give us a lot of leeway. You're either a member of the interlocal agreement or you're not. And it doesn't really say, well, the cities will help with their funding by a percentage, or it's kind of generic. To be rather honest, that's the reason we want to look at this and see, do we want to change this interlocal agreement to give to put anything in there that says a city will provide a certain amount of funding, or that gives us a little more concrete way to do in case more cities start dropping out. Yes, Glenda.
They are legally organized as municipal libraries. And that, to me, presumes that the city has an interest in the library. And so I don't know. I've heard that it's not public safety, that it's sewer,
For
that
Elkins,
everything else got funded, but the library didn't get funded, even a token. And so I just want to make sure that this doesn't turn into something that can be abused by others.
right.
You know, this circumstance. Because to me, if a municipality does not want to support its municipal library, then maybe that money, that extra money should go to the other municipal libraries that are receiving support from their cities.
Right.
Sort of a good faith thing.
Right. And then the way Miss Unger was talking, I'm sorry, there's too many Susans here. I keep wanting to, the way Miss Unger's talking about is if there is not and like I said, my opinion is exactly worth what you're paying for it. Nothing. My thought is if the millage money that comes in within the city limits of Elkins or Greenland or Lincoln or anybody, that should be theirs irregardless. The extra money that we kick in, way Ms. Unger's talking, I don't think she's of the opinion that we are not required to parcel that money out any way that we want to, really. So we could change the formula. I don't really want to just jump out there and go, oh, hey, if you're not going to do it, we're not going to give you money. I'd like to have something in there that says in our interlocal agreement that if the city's not going to support their own library, and I don't know if other board members want to put in a percentage, a per capita, however you want to say, come up with a magic number that the city should provide for their libraries. If they don't do this, we're not going to kick in the extra. And the extra adds up to quite a bit for Elkins. What's the above their regular millage, Glenda?
Do not have that in my hands, but it's over $100,000.
That's what I was thinking.
That's the total. I mean, you're looking at what, 50,000, a little over $50,000 is the difference, I think, don't you think?
Well, for some reason I was.
Well, anyway, it's not that big of a deal. I
Right.
think it's like $46,000 is collected in the city, something like that. That's pretty close.
Right. So I'm thinking that we add in, above and beyond what's collected within the city. I'm thinking we kick in another 100 to 125, 150,000.
No.
Is it not?
The total is only 120.
Okay.
And 14
Hang on
of
a
that is
second, Glenda.
because of the 14,000 of that is because of the lack of a children's librarian. So the
Right.
total- So it's really only,
We're talking about $50,000 though.
right, that's what we're talking about.
I mean, we're
And, to
talking
say that it's not,
50,000.
the city, the area, I don't live in the city. The area that's served by the library is
Not
Right.
just-
It
much
is.
greater than the city.
Then the city
So, I mean,
limits.
it's not like it's extra. My taxes are going into that part of extra. The library I use is Elkins. I mean, so it's not.
Right.
Maybe it just needs to be that we have some sort of addendum to the agreement that says that if there's a time period that it's not able to contribute, that we could give them the leeway for a certain time frame. But if it's at a recurrence over a certain amount of time and give it something measurable.
Right. And I mean, we're in a
I don't want
position
to
of,
see them gone, that's not.
we don't want to short a library. I mean, that's our job here
But I'm like,
is to
Glenda,
fund the libraries.
it doesn't need to be something that can be, other cities can say, oh, well, look, such and such did it. Well, we can keep this money and we can do something else with it, and they'll give us the money to.
Right.
So,
Let's cut the city's portion that we fund the library and spend it on parking meters,
whatever, it doesn't matter what they spend.
Right.
But if they see that they can pull it and still maintain
But-
what they have,
And that is my opinion on this. However, it will take the action of the entire board if we want to amend the
right?
interlocal agreement to have some sort of requirement that the cities provide funding. Now we'll have to come up with, how do we want to word it? How do
Right.
we come up with the magic number? And it'll require the action of the entire board.
Glenda, too, you said there was one, you found one interlocal agreement that did have some sort of financial.
It was for upkeep of the facility.
Okay.
So,
That's all it said, that the cities had to upkeep, or, well,
yeah, it was the city had to pay for the building. Yeah, none of them had any specific number. And the problem is Springdale, anything you do, if you do it per capita, they get the lion's share.
Right.
And
but
and it
if
is,
we're talking about paying per capita, for instance, the ambulance service was $6.06 per capita. If you have something like that, then Springdale's contribution is going to be huge as well. I mean, are they going to buy that either?
Springdale doesn't use
no,
it.
probably not. I mean, they do put in, several $100,000,
Right.
five or six, I think, at least. So, I mean, it's,
Well, maybe it's not a question of a percentage of per capita. Maybe it's a perception of time. Like, you know, you need to have an X amount of time to reevaluate. And like they said, Susan said that they have a good faith that they're going to recontribute. Maybe it needs to be more of a time frame versus a per capita or a monetary amount.
Right. Or, I mean,
Things-
it can
things
be,
happen. I mean, you know, what do you do? Things happen. I don't
Right.
think we should cut them
Right.
off.
well, then also you get into the same thing like Glenda was talking about. The other one she found was maintenance of or upkeep of the building. Elkins is still paying for their library. Their city money that they were kicking in basically covered what I understood, covered the building payments. It wasn't like they were using that money excess. I mean, I think their building payment was $2,500 a month. I don't know what it is,
It's about
but
24,000 a year.
24,000 a year. And the city was their budget that the city was donating or
But
putting into
less
the
than
library.
that.
Right.
Right. So, you know, if we put in the interlocal agreement that the cities have to put in the building and stuff, I mean, that may be, there's several different ways to look at this. Glenda, did you find the amounts that we were
Yeah.
talking about?
And Susan's right. For Elkins, 46,000 is the millage. And then the total is 107,000.
Okay. So we kicked in another 57 grand.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Um,
But again,
instead-
the whole reason I brought this up was somewhere down the line, we may get somebody who says, I don't believe in libraries and the city's not going to fund it.
Right.
Boom.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's about,
That's what
valid
prompted this
concern.
discussion.
Why don't we table this, you know, until we see next year? I mean, I agree, if they don't fund the library next year, then
well,
think
and nothing that we do is going to be instant. What I'm
But we
asking,
can't do it
what
that
I want
quickly.
everybody to do is to kind of look at what modifications we could make to the interlocal agreement. Even if we make a modification, say we modified it today, it'd still be the end of the year or what, because
Everybody would have to sign off. on it.
everybody'd have to sign it. So it's going to have to go through a process, but I think we need to start the process of looking at, and it doesn't even have to be a line in the sand kind of thing, just something in here that says that part of this interlocal agreement is we are expecting the cities to provide some support for their own libraries.
Right. It,
However much,
if you make it that general, they're gonna say, well, we mow, we provide cleaning, we do support,
True.
you know. I mean, you're gonna have
Right.
to get more specific.
cash support.
well,
direct
you know,
cash support.
like, well, all right,
I
we're
think
talking
you're gonna
about
have to do
Elkins. Let's
something
take
like per
Elkins.
capita, or some
Who makes
dollar amount.
All right, who makes the payment on Elkins Library?
Well, all of the payments are handled through the city. The library doesn't have a treasurer or anything. All of any
Yeah,
payment
but
of any
does it come out of the library money or does it come
Yes.
out of general
the
fund? So
library budgets
about-
the money for the payment. yes.
the utilities in the building, does the library, that come
Library
out of the
budget,
library?
Yes,
and staff salary or staff.
everything.
But they
All
Everything
comes out of the library budget, and all the
Right.
funding going into the library budget's what right now this year is coming from the millage. So nothing's coming from the city.
That's correct.
So if they are providing
Well, except that
lawnmower service, utilities, they're providing something.
Right.
But
they
it's
are
being
providing,
paid.
they're,
Go ahead.
whatever, they're providing cleaning. And I think that's a budgeted item that they actually pay, but
That the city pays or the library does.
it's in the library's budget. Is
In the
that
budget
true? I
from
don't
the city.
know. I don't know for
Budget
sure.
from the
I don't
city.
want to say it
Right.
wrong.
Well, I mean, that's like, you know, if all the checks are cut, the library budget is basically a subset of their general fund, I'm assuming. The city writes all the checks, but the income coming into the library, if the city is covering some of that, say the building payment, the maintenance, that's them providing some support. That's better than, well, all the money that's coming in from this millage is going to the library, and that's what's paying for the building payment, the maintenance, the cleaning, the supplies, and all that stuff.
Utilities.
That's
But
them providing no support.
Money's not there this year.
They are providing some
Right.
support. It's just not the, normally there's what, a line item that's called transfer to the library. And that's a line item in the city's budget and it shows up on the library's budget. That's what they didn't do this year.
Right.
Okay, so that's.
Well, I would like for everyone to kind of scratch and think on this and look at some of the and see if we want as a board to talk about amending anything on the interlocal agreement, to add any changes to it, to give us a something in there that says, if you're not going to support this, what do we do? And it's up to the board as a whole to decide, what do we want to do? Do we want to do anything? And what time frame and steps do we want to take it? And this is not something that's going to happen real quick. And yes, this deal with Elkins will be over and done with before we get to this. But what we're looking for is what happens if later on down the road, none of us are here, and 2 or 3 of the cities decide, well, we're getting enough money from the county for them to run our library. We don't have to support it anymore.
The long term.
I mean,
Yeah.
politics being what they are, most places aren't going to do that because you have people in your community that want to support your library.
You never
What do
know.
we want to do? How do we want to change this? And y'all come up with some good ideas, because I'm getting old and decrepit. I can't think like this no more.
I think it was a necessary discussion, and
Right.
I do think we need to think about it. Everything needs to be reviewed every so often and see if
It's like our 5-year plan. Even if you don't change much, you got to look at it every so often.
Yeah. And the thing to remember too, if we do make any changes, then all of the city councils have to sign off on it too.
Right.
And so, I mean, it
Yeah.
might get hung up somewhere.
Real easy.
But it's just, people just need to be aware that that possibility exists down the road. So,
I have a question, Glenda. What if the city decided they wanted to be a branch?
well, the board would have to agree to take that on. And they'd have to, I guess they'd have to get their municipal standing removed. And then they
I'm
just
not-
get,
If the city's a first class city, I'm not sure
could do
I'm not
that.
sure if that has anything to do with it or not, because as a first class city, the library, some of the laws and library stuff is different, I believe, than it is
Yes.
for a second class city.
Yes, it is.
Well, okay, let me put it this way. Can you figure out if that would be possible? I mean, I'm not saying the city's interested in doing that. It's just, I just wonder if something like that could happen.
That'd probably be an attorney question, honestly.
It would be.
Don't know.
It would be an attorney question. And the other thing would be if you want to take on another budget and then Elkins would just get like Greenland and Winslow. And they also have interlocal agreements where the city has to provide the utilities. They have to provide the building maintenance. They have to provide the janitorial. They have to provide the internet. I mean, there are specific things that have to be provided by. And we also don't pay the insurance on those buildings. So,
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't add up to a whole lot, but the city of Greenland kicks in several $1,000s. I mean, I've got a line item in the budget for the library, to be honest, mainly for shelving, repairs to the building, or say I have to put new carpet in the library or replace a heating and air unit in there. We've got a line item. The city pays for that because it's our building. So we cover that. We cover the internet, the electricity, the water, the heat and air, all that stuff. And I think that's part of our agreement with the.
Yes,
Well, maybe you could look
the
at
law.
kind of doing a combo of putting something like that into the,
Interlibrary loan.
Or local.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. If the city's covering that kind of stuff, they're providing support for the library, so that money, that millage money is not having to pay those payments or that electric bill or that whatever.
yeah.
That
But that-
helps.
That money isn't in the Elkins Library budget right now.
Right.
Um,
So,
and hopefully they'll be able to come up with something. But I just thought this was an important topic that looking down the road needed to be discussed.
okay. Well, let's leave this on the agenda for the next meeting. And I would like everybody to look and see if what y'all personally think. Should we modify this? How should we modify this? And is it just me talking about it? If y'all say, no, we don't want to modify it, so be it. It has to be the board as a whole that wants to do it.
Yeah.
And we want to do what's best for the libraries.
Right. And if, say, someone wanted to become a municipal library, then instead of a branch, or be a branch instead of a municipal library, that means you lose a lot of goodies.
oh, no, I understand that. I mean, I understand. I know, possibly part, we're talking about the support, the city, Elkins was kind of grandfathered in to the municipal library.
They were,
at the
yes.
start. We weren't even a city of the first class at that point in time. It was a long time ago with a lot of,
It was
people that are
1990.
no longer around and, that kind of thing. So it's not like a new library that just came on board, what I'm trying to say here.
Right.
Maybe, it's a 30-year-old city.
Well,
library.
who was it that somebody changed right when I first came on the board? Somebody changed their library to a municipal library. They just became a city of the first class.
That was Farmington.
Was it?
Yes.
And they hit the right deal and their library became a municipal library, whereas before it wasn't.
Well, Farmington
They didn't have a
library.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that was it then. I knew there was something because all of a sudden we had, because we had, there were two at-large members and when Farmington started their library, they got a representative on the board and we lost one of the at-large members.
Right. Okay. So I'll put it on next meeting's agenda and
What,
If y'all would, just think on it.
if you want me to, I could, I have a copy of the ambulance interlocal agreement, which is really specific. It's based a certain amounts of money based on per capita.
Right.
If anybody wants
Well,
to look at that, I can send that out to everybody.
it wouldn't
You
hurt.
can. I mean, I've got it. You don't have to send it to me. I've got a copy of it. Greenland has the same thing. We pay $6 and change or $7 a head for each person in town to the ambulance service to help provide their budget.
Yeah. Susan, I can send that out to everyone if you like.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I think that it's very detailed and I think it would be interesting for people to look at that versus what we have is so general.
But that's,
I felt like, I sort of feel
Now,
like
this
if
was-
the cities were tied to something like the ambulance plan, we wouldn't be talking about this. But,
Right.
but it gets pretty complicated. The ambulance one, they're supposed to update the amounts based on the population changes year by year. I mean,
Yeah.
it sounds
Right.
and if there's talk of changing the formula or anything at any point, it would be nice if we could wait until after we get census information.
Right.
exactly, because nobody's going to want to do it until then if you're going to talk about per capita. I mean, I'm sure
Right.
because they wouldn't have a clue what they'd be looking at.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the next thing, which is the planning committee. And I believe you've got the long range proposed plan,
Yes.
long range plan proposed.
5B1.
It really doesn't change. I mean, we changed some of it, but there weren't major changes because
Because the people who did the other one did such a good job, right?
Yeah,
well, yeah, and I mean, a long range plan is not real specific or not supposed to be real specific. So we did go through and change some of it. Glenda, if you want to kind of give them the rundown and everything, my opinion is we modified a few things just because times have changed, things have changed. And a long range plan is not etched in stone. It's designed. The idea is we need to relook at this every few years and see what changes. And it just kind of gives us these are the way we're working towards. And
basically what we did is we did away with the goals and left it more general with the objectives. And then we'll work within those objectives. Instead of saying we're going to have a specific number of meetings, we're going to work in partnership. We're going to manage, encourage partnership opportunities, assist in the development of member libraries. Again, because the libraries are our patrons. And I don't know if anybody had any issues or questions about the plan. And you're right, Susan. I mean, it was a good document the first time around, but things have changed a little bit since then. And that document was written right after the system had split up.
Right.
And the branch libraries became municipal libraries because of the change in the law. And so it had a little more direct things.
Fayetteville was still in the system then too.
Yes. Whereas now most of the libraries are pretty established, and they're becoming more educated, and there's more things available to them online.
And more of the city libraries now are professional. I mean, you have people that do this, the professional librarians that are running these libraries. And when Fayetteville split out, we were just about it. Miss Betty has got time to go down and help run the library.
Yes.
So I think that changed a lot. Our libraries are growing, and I think I like the plan. I was on part of the people that changed that. So, what can I say? But my thought on this is the plan doesn't have to be, you don't really want it specific etched in stone. Have y'all had a chance to look over it?
I read it.
If you don't have any objections, I would entertain a motion to accept this as our ongoing 5-year plan, and we'll keep looking and modifying it as we need.
And then I can get it into the state library, and that will keep us qualified for state aid. So
Free money. I love free money. Would anyone care to make a motion to accept this?
Fashion.
Okay, Ms. Brown, a motion. Second.
I'll second.
All right, I have a second. All in favor of accepting the 2021-2026 long range plan as proposed? Show of hands. Unanimous.
great, thank you all.
All right.
I really
When
appreciate
are we
the
going
work
to set up our next meeting?
Well, I was just going to say, I really appreciate the work that the people on the committee put in on the document and the guidance that they gave me. Next meeting, we usually meet in June. Who knows if we'll be meeting in person or on Zoom? I'm going to go ahead and set it up for Zoom just until maybe we can have our fourth quarter meeting or our budget meeting in person.
It'd be nice. I haven't had it. I don't know about y'all, but I'm not that fond of Zoom.
I don't like looking at myself, so.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any time in June that they can't meet? That they know of?
The 17th, I can't. It was a Thursday.
Yeah, and the 7th through the 10th, I'm pretty well tied down. Say the 24th.
Does that work for the rest of you?
Well, thank-
Yep,
As far as Susan knows.
right
right?
now. Yeah,
Okay.
Well,
June
and we-
24th at 3:00.
And we found out last year that if we don't have a board meeting in the quarter that it's scheduled, it's not, the building doesn't go into flames. But it's better to keep us on track.
All right.
June 24th.
Sounds like a deal to me. And then any other comments or suggestions, or anybody need anything put on the agenda for the next go round that isn't already on there? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Also move.
Second,
Yep.
all in favor, show of hands.
Who was the second, please?
Susan, did you second Unger?
I'm not, su-
I thought
I,
I made the
no,
Yeah.
motion.
Susan.
Oh, you
Unger
made the motion. Yeah,
I'm not
McGowan.
sure.
Did the
Susan
other,
McCann.
I'll second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So both
Susan.
Susan.
Susan squared. There you go.
There we go. All right. Well, thank you all very much.
Thank
And
you.
maybe life will be getting even more closer to normal by the next meeting.
God, I hope
I
so.
hope so. All right.
It's been a friend of mine posted some pictures of flowers in her yard. And I texted her and I said, I feel like I've been in a cave for a year. Those flowers are so pretty. It's so nice to see color.
Mm.
And
Yeah, and I
that's
saw
what it felt like.
snowflakes this morning, so.
Yeah.
It is Arkansas, so.
It is. Well, and I'm leaving tomorrow to go camping down at Devil's Den, so it's either going to be tornadoes or snowstorm. I'm not sure which.
I have a friend who's a first responder. She'll be down there. You'll have help.
That's good. I may need it. I like camping at the Den. My cell phone doesn't work down there, so
That's
that's
where
one
they're-
of the really big draws for that place.
That's where they're
There
going.
you go.
There you go.
All right. Well,
Okay.
thank you all.
Thank
I'll be
you.
careful.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, if I can figure out how to shut that down. Yeah,